And welcome everybody to a very different, but sort of same, not really the same at all, edition of the Village Idiots podcast. I am John, one of the co-hosts. Unfortunately, I am here by myself today. This is a different kind of one-off thing that probably won't happen very too much. Um, uh, I'm just helping some friends test out some podcast equipment, and we're here in a different kind of studio than you normally see me in. But hey, we're ready to rock and roll and just talk about kind of some things that have been happening. First off, we haven't had a podcast in a few weeks, as some of you may have seen. Um, we are busy. We all work full-time jobs plus, overtime and everything. Um, you know, Life has come up some Tuesdays, and we just haven't really been able to record in a few weeks. So hopefully this gets you over for a little bit, and you'll get uh, a podcast from us very soon. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to record. Um, in the meantime, we're just going to kind of talk about some stuff that's been happening. There's been a lot of news in the football world that's kind of come and gone. Um, Today it was announced the Florida Gators have named a starting quarterback in Aaron Fileo. That'll be, it's a good similar face to Buster Faulkner's new offense at Florida, coming from the ACC, you know, uh, into Florida. He was able to bring a guy at Georgia Tech that is familiar with his offense, and the Gators happen to need some help at quarterback. So he's taken over. You know, Trel Jones Jr. was a big candidate that some expected to get the nod for the season to start. That just didn't happen. Uh, I don't think you'll see Trel Jones Jr. enter the transfer portal. It is possible with this day in college football, but he didn't enter it last year. And the Aaron Fileo thing. This is a 1 year thing. If he doesn't get pulled for something, Tremel Jones is the future, and I think he wants to stay Gator. I could be wrong. He could have hit the transfer portal 20 minutes ago, and I don't know, but we'll see. And then the Titans had a preseason game last night, a victory against the Seahawks. That was uh, you needed something more from Cam Ward. I think he was 8 for 12, 69 yards, nice, and had a big fumble that was just a bad fumble. You just cannot run with the ball unprotected like he was running with it like he had a Coke can in his hand. Made it all too easy for the defensive end to come in and knock it out. And this is the thing with Cam Ward. And I've been hard on Cam Ward. Maybe deservedly so, maybe not so much at times. But no matter my opinion on Cam Ward, these are the facts here. The Titans now are coming in with a brand new coaching staff who didn't draft Cam Ward. That they just didn't do it. And in this day in the NFL, if you're a first overall pick like Cam Ward, you get 2 seasons. That's it. You just get 2 seasons. I don't make the rules. It is what it is. You get 2 seasons. If at the end of the second season you're not performing, you get shipped out or you just get jettisoned down the depth chart like Anthony Richardson and Indy. Now, it, the first handful of games for Cam Ward this year are going to be critical. They do have what I think is a capable backup in Mitch Trubisky, and honestly, probably right now the better overall option for you know to play. I think I think there's a strong possibility that if the first 5 or 6 games go really south, and the Titans don't look like they're in a playoff position and they're trending downward still, I think it's very possible that you get Mitch Trubisky coming in and doing, you know, uh, taking over for the quarterback. I just realized one of my things I always do is we got the sunglasses here. I realized I didn't have them on. Um, so yeah, so Trubisky could take over. Trubisky could not take over. time will tell. I think I don't think I believe in Cam Ward the same way a lot of Titans. I'm not a Titans fan, but the way a lot of Titans fans do believe in Cam Ward, I'm just not sold. I was never sold in college on him being that guy. I was never sold when he got to the NFL. He didn't show me a lot last year. Obviously, he had some flashes. Everybody can do that. That's you know, you see that all the time. People have a hot streak and then what happens. So Will Levis had hot streaks, and that shows you that's a perfect example of that. Will Levis, who I'm surprised is still on the team, but judging by his play last night, I think he could get cut soon. The Ravens have completed their second preseason game. That was against. I don't really remember, to be honest with you. That's preseason. It is what it is. Lamar Jackson didn't play. Why would he in the preseason? That's if you get hurt in the preseason, that's really bad. So Lamar didn't play, thankfully. It was announced, I believe this morning, or maybe this came out last night. Ravens receiver Rashad Bateman has been arrested for allegedly some sort of domestic dispute. I guess I saw a report where he allegedly shoved her up against a wall, and that's really bad. And I don't know. They're gonna definitely do their investigation on it, and I don't see him being a part of the team if the allegations are actually true. We'll see. And in the meantime, I think the Ravens have a pretty solid receiver core. They could definitely use Bateman 100%. But you got Zay Flowers coming back, who got the big contract. You got rookie Jacoby Lane at a USC third round pick, who's flashed all through training camp and preseason. Get Jacoby Lane on your fantasy team, guys. Jacoby Lane, I like him as a player. He's a tall, lanky receiver, 6'4", about 205, 210, sort of in the similar frame as like a DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not comparing him to DeAndre, and just it's sort of the frame that he has. And I think he'll be a good outside receiver for us. Zay Flowers is going to be hopefully back 100% healthy this year. He sprained his knee or something like that in a training camp practice maybe a week or so ago. So we'll see. I don't think that he's been really. I don't think that's a big injury. I don't think it's a big injury concern. And here's the thing: until the end of the preseason, which is just I think next week is our last preseason game. You're just trying to get through to the regular season without any more injuries. You're trying not to, come in the season with a bunch of starters on your injury report, and that's why you're not seeing a lot of starters play in the preseason. A la Lamar Jackson and other names, big names. You know, we're talking about practice, guys. We're talking about practice. That's all preseason is. That's literally all preseason is. It means nothing if your starter goes in there and dots up a third team defense for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. What does it matter? It's practice. It's practice. We don't want to get our superstars hurt in practice. And so yeah, I think everybody is just waiting for some real meaningful football to be played. You got week 0 this week in college starting back up. That's always a fun week in college football. There's a lot of you got kind of a mixture of schools that you don't really know of a lot, and maybe some that you have heard of. So that's what I love about college football is no matter who's playing, no matter what the scenario is, it just there's a different feel from college to the NFL, and you know just all across the board. It's obviously the same sport, but it's a totally different atmosphere in college, and I think that's really you know I think that's what really kind of brings in the college football fans and keeps them there. Um, for some UFC talk, we haven't done a podcast in a while, so you guys haven't heard the Ian Garry, Islam Makhachev reaction. Islam really, really kind of held Ian Garry and kind of did whatever he wanted to in the first round with him in their main event for the title fight. Ian Garry challenging Islam Makhachev. Um, and you know, uh, I think Ian just didn't have the killer instinct when you're fighting for a world title fight. You gotta take the respect out of it, and as much as everyone wants to be respectful in their sport or whatever. In UFC and MMA, you're literally basically not really, but I mean, there's a ref in there to stop it, but you're fighting to the death. That's all you're doing. You're fighting until the ref stops you. That's it. And whether that be the end of the fight, all rounds, or a stoppage. But during each round, as the round would finish and they'd go back to their corners, Ian Garry was doing a bunch of weird stuff like tapping Islam on the head, saying, "Oh, good job, good round, good round," hugging him and just showing a lot of respect to the champion. There's a time and a place for that, right? The place isn't when you're fighting the guy. The best way you can go out and respect Islam Makhachev isn't by dapping him up, isn't by tapping him on the head, isn't by giving him a hug and telling him good round, good round. The best way to respect Islam Makhachev is to absolutely bring the fight to him, and Ian Garry just didn't do that. I think the worst thing about the fight, Ian Garry's loss to Islam, he lost a unanimous decision. During after the fight, when all the stuff was going on in the background, they're walking to the locker room. Ian ran into, I'm not sure, he's top 3 or 4, Michael Morales, UFC welterweight. And Islam is telling him, he's giving him like a pep talk, like, "Hey man, you're doing good. You'll be there. You'll be there. You're this and that." And Michael Morales, who is, I think he's, oh, what is he? Brazilian maybe. Brazilian, I believe, maybe. Big language barrier with Islam, or not Islam, Ian Garry and Mike Morales while they're back there talking. And the look on Mike Morales' face was like, dude, I will absolutely smash you into pieces. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you just lost the title fight, and now you're sitting here giving me advice? No. But that's what Ian Garry does. And I'd be shocked to see him get another title fight soon. I think they're going to really look to the UFC sort of punishes fighters when they do stuff like that. They don't like it when you come in there and be nice and this and that, and they expect you to take the fight to the person, and that just didn't happen. So you know I think there will be another fight for Ian Garry soon. I don't know if the UFC really wants to get to him, they'll toss him Amasov, who's a Ukraine, former Bellator champion, coming. He's over in the UFC now. He fought in the Ukraine war. He's a badass man, and if the UFC wants to punish Ian Garry, they'll give him. This past weekend, Robocop beat um, Fluffy Hernandez in the main event by a stoppage. That's a big win for Robocop, and I'm sure they'll probably try to maybe look at maybe a top 5 guy next. I think Fluffy may have been maybe 6 or 7 when they fought. So a top 5 guy at middleweight for RoboCop really makes sense. Gregory Rodriguez, by the way, that's his name. He just goes by RoboCop. If you look him up, you'll see why he goes by RoboCop. And yeah, so that's kind of the interesting UFC talk. This Tuesday, tomorrow night, Dana White's Contender Series is back. This season has been pretty good. They will have Bella Mir, the daughter of UFC legend, Hall of Famer Frank Mir. She'll be fighting for a chance at a UFC contract this Tuesday, so that'll be cool. It's kind of cool now, as I get into my older years, I guess, into my mid 30s, it's kind of cool to start seeing people that I watched when I was, a lot younger, and now they've got kids coming up in the sport, whether that's football, NASCAR, baseball, UFC. I like it all. And so that's cool. Bellamere, she wanted to come out and fight as soon as she got like out of high school. Dana White said no, not yet. You need to mature, go to college. She went to college. She was the UFC's first NIL deal during college. She got she did extra stuff like jujitsu tournaments and stuff, as well as the college wrestling. Was a NCAA All American in the collegiate world, and looks to take her talents to the UFC. And I've got a feeling you're gonna know her name as a household name more sooner than not. Um, Her dad was one of my absolute favorite fighters, so I'm excited to see how that goes. And with that said, I kind of want to do about 15 minutes or so, and we've kind of hit that now. Like I said, I hope we're able to record tomorrow, guys. We'll see. And with that, have a good day.